What's up, Vape fam? Sorteal here, back for more live build sessions. So what I decided to do this week, last time we built some RDTAs, these two I actually kind of wanted to build, but I never got around to it. The stream would have just been too long, so decided I'd do them at some other point. And it was going to be another kind of all RDTA type of build stream, but I also got this in, which is the new pandemic 30mm. So knew I wanted to build this thing up. Gonna end up sticking it on the 01 from Zero Mods. I think it should look really good, especially with that orange. But first up, we're actually going to take a look at the Hellheim. I did a review for the Hellheim 30 or Hellheim S30. I really dug that RDTA, but the original Hellheim is probably still my favorite. Not the Hellheim S, but the standard Hellheim. If I'm going to use an RDTA, typically I would much rather the wicking be done with actual cotton. Not that stainless steel wicking rods don't work, but they don't work as well as just using your actual cotton. So go ahead, take a look at this, just dive right into it. This is the original Hellheim. I actually really dig this. I've actually liked every single version of the Hellheim. This one, the S, and the stainless steel wicking rods in the Hellheim S actually worked better than most, honestly. And then the Hellheim S30, having 6 stainless steel wicking rods, it actually worked like a dream. Probably some of the best performance wicking wise out of stainless steel wicking rods that I've ever seen. Here is our deck. Pretty simple deck, kind of postless design. These are flathead screws in this. I do like with this one that the kind of wicking channels over here to get down into the tank portion itself are actually really wide. On a lot of RDTAs, you don't really see that. You'll kind of find that you got to tuck it into a very tight space. The Artemis 2 is kind of one of those that it can be a little bit of a pain in the ass to actually get your wicks down in there. But with this one, that's really not the case at all. Go ahead and back these out. See who's all Saren, how's it going? Jimmy James, how's it going? What was Saren, what was very surprising? I'm sorry if I'm butchering that name. All right, got those backed out. I'm actually going to use some Watofo coils. These are 0.22 aliens. These are actually pretty damn good coils. I was shocked at how well Watofo's aliens actually perform. So I'm gonna go ahead and use these. At least with the 30, the S30, and I think that has more to do with the fact there's 6 of them than just 4 of them. Oh, hey, another Kentuckian, and yes, thank you very much. I ordered some of those up, so I'm pumped to get some more Breeze Tones coils in. All right, with these coils, I'm cutting them to 5. It's what they recommend and seems to be what works best. I actually did it before with cutting them to 4, and the side airflow just doesn't do what it's supposed to do. It almost misses the coil in a way, or misses the side of the coil, hits more kind of the top, which doesn't really do much for you as far as flavor goes. My screwdriver. All right. But yeah, I was actually pretty shocked too by how well the stainless steel wicking rods worked. Kind of drop them down in there. See if I can line this up. Seems like it caught the coil pretty good. All right. Actually, gonna move it over just slightly while we're placing the other one, but I will kind of position it back. I'm one of those that I would much rather use an RDTA than use an RTA for the most part. There are a few exceptions. My love affair with the Fatality M25 and M25 Remastered is well documented, but if I was going to say overall, I would much rather use, come on, there we go. I would much rather use an RDTA than an RTA. I get down in there good. Yeah, here we go. All right. Resistance came out to 0.07. Hey, Steve-O, how's it going? Probably in the minority with what opinion? Oh, about stainless steel wicking rods? Actually need to drop these down a little bit more. This coil is a little bit higher than the other one. I'm not sure. There it goes. Oh, no, liking RDTAs more than RTAs. I don't know. Legion Vapes has the same opinion. But yeah, we are probably in the minority. But I like to be able to drip as well. And I've never been a big fan of RTAs, especially the flavor off of them. Like I said, there are a few exceptions. Fatality M25 being one. The Blaze, shockingly, I really was not expecting much out of that RTA, and it actually turned out to be really good. All right, now let's see. Yeah, still 0.07. All right, go ahead, pulse and pinch this. But yeah, I think with RDTAs, I don't know, they're finicky. Wicking them is finicky. Their tanks are relatively small, but I think a lot of people expect RDTAs to just be like an RTA, and they're really not. Blaze turned out to be your favorite RTA as of late. I don't blame you. It's definitely up there for me. And then that nitrous RTA really surprised me as well. Although I will admit, I don't find myself using the nitrous RTA as often as I initially thought I would. Actually, I have to turn this up just a little bit. They're about there. These are actually with TOFO coils. They're the 0.22 aliens individually, so it should come out to about 0.11. Usually they come out to like 0.1 on the money. as opposed to 0.11, but I ended up getting some and was pretty shocked by how well I actually liked them. Turned out a nice shade of blue. All right, let's see what our resistance came out to. Yeah, 0.1. So they rarely ever come out to 0.11, being as they advertise the individual coils as 0.22, but I definitely can live with 0.1. Yeah, they do, and they really don't have a whole lot of hotspots. You kind of get the initial just crazy streaks of hotspots everywhere, but then a little bit of kind of pulsing and pinching, and you're all good. All right, cotton I'm going to use is actually this right here, and it's more so just because it's the last bit of it that I have, and I kind of want to use it up. Not that it's bad. Actually, this was kind of high up on my list for cottons, the QP Design Snow Cotton. It comes in big, huge strips like this. These actually work really well if you want to like just massively pack a mesh RDA. Really got to take just a little bit off, and this will work wonders in a mesh. But for this, you kind of just tear off what you think will work. Yeah, it's similar to cotton bacon as far as just kind of how it's presented. Well, that just fell apart completely. That was not good. As I'm kind of one of those that I like to roll at it, and it just completely fell apart right in the middle. Not good. If it keeps doing that, I'll just switch to either KGB or my usual Amoza. Grab my scissors. Let's see how well this works. When Tofo are your budget go-to coils, they seem to be, other than Coilology. Coilology actually has some really good coils, shockingly being a Chinese company. But then again, same with Tofo. They seem to have, not all, but definitely these 0.22 aliens and their 0.17 triple core fuse Claptons are actually really good. All right. I think this will work pretty well, hopefully. Fingers crossed. I really haven't had any issue with the QP Snow Cotton. Other than that, where I like to kind of roll the cotton and kind of pull at it. I'll roll and then pull my fingers as I go. Every once in a while it does that where it just rips in two like that. All right, so if you've ever seen like Mike Vapes do one of these, he likes to like just barely get the wicks down in there. I like them a little bit longer than that, so I'm probably going to cut them about right there, I'd say. Actually, I'm going to do these slightly longer. Pull through just a little bit. All right. I think that'll work. Oh yeah, I forgot about the 0.26 quad cores. Those are really good too. I like to use those in larger atomizer, like 28mm atomizers. You got the Kennedy Vindicator 21, nice. I love me some Vindicators. I need to order one of the current, which I mean, it's the same thing, but I need another 28mm Vindicator. So I'm kind of thinking about ordering one up, but I don't know. It'll definitely be after the holidays before I do something like that. I'm going to get a little bit of kind of the under action, but not a lot. So one kind of downside to this cotton is it will thin itself out too much if you're not careful. You can easily pull a lot of the cotton away just by kind of brushing through it. All right. I think that'll work pretty good. Cut a little bit off this end. All right, see if we can do this all in one big thing. Should be able to. Kind of using the good old Mike Vapes flip. Now, once we get it tucked in, we'll take this tank base off there and then kind of straighten it out from underneath so it's actually down in the tank a little bit better. This side actually looks like it's almost spot on. That looks pretty good right there. This needs a little bit of help. Well, I don't know. Let's take the tank off and see. What's going on, Sleepster? I can't remember if I have to take this out or not. I may not be able to do it without bending the coil. I'm just going to leave it for now and see if I can kind of with my tweezers straighten this up. I think I'd take that 510 out to... Actually, I'm able to straighten it up pretty good. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, liquid I'm going to use with this is my strawberry shortcake ice cream. Steve better not steal all my cotton. I've got some Cloud 9 that I just restocked, and that stuff's hard to get here. Now I have the squonk pin in this. I'm actually going to stick it on the Defiant Designs TS once I test it here on the Gower 21 and make sure everything works right. But I almost forgot that all of these are, you know, not necessarily squonkable, but squonk fillable. I always thought that was kind of a cool feature of the Hellheims, and there's a few other RDTAs that have that kind of feature. That's why your Cloud 9 is in a safe. I don't blame you. All right, so let's go ahead and fill this up some. Pretty easy to fill as long as you have a bottle with a needle tip nose, you're good to go. All right, I think that'll work. Take a top cap in case nobody is familiar or somebody's not familiar with this. It is dual airflow. You have undercoil kind of comes through this right here. It's channeled right through there, up through the honeycomb airflow underneath, and then side airflow. To get a little bit better view of how your coils sit, you can actually take the top airflow portion off. It locks in place, so kind of get it down. When it's turned like this, it's locked in place. So, but if you close it all the way off, it will easily pop off there. All right. Oh. Tilted it too much. All right. Looks pretty good. Jump back to the other camera view. Give this thing a test. Building this thing on camera, trying to avoid camera going too crazy, and I tilted it too much and liquid came out a little bit. All right, I'm gonna crank this up. We'll start out at 70. That came out to 0.1. See how this does. That's something. Yeah, email me anytime. I'm wide open to anybody getting in contact with me. All right, I'm gonna leave the, let's just try it completely wide open starting out. It'll be way too much airflow for me, but let's give it a go. Yeah, far too much airflow. Let's cut down. About halfway cut off on the top, bottom still wide open. That's not bad. I really need to crank this wattage. Just go ahead and crank it up to 95. That's really good. I actually want to see where my coils are in position to the airflow. Not too bad. One coil I wish was a little closer. I don't really want to move it. I do, but I don't, because I'll just end up causing hot spots. All right, I'm going to close down the bottom just a little bit. So I've got 3 slits on the top airflow open, the other 2 completely cut off. And then on the bottom, I'm closing it off maybe 25%. Oh yeah. That's about where I like it. I could probably cut that side airflow down by 1 more. All right, yeah, that's good. So I've got 2 slits open on the side airflow and then about 25% closed off on the bottom. Pull off of it is damn near perfect. Yeah, I think it's working good. It's not shorting out on me or anything like that. Let's go ahead and crank it up to still like 115, just to give it a test at some higher wattages before we end up sticking it on a mechanical mod. Even though it's not a hybrid, I still like to test it. Seems to be doing good. All right. So the Defiant Designs TS here. And it seems to be wicking really well too. I haven't really come across any dry hits or anything like that. All right. That was pretty damn good. See how our wicking action is doing. pretty saturated overall. Let me swap over here. Still pretty damn saturated, and you know, I've been taking several pulls in a row there. I really like this Helheim. I know a lot of people like to kind of hate on Hellvape, but they've kind of been knocking it out of the park recently. Mowgli, appreciate it very much. Take it easy, brother. Let's drip a few. I'm going to try this squonk feature here in just a second. I've vaped it almost down to nothing. Only downside to kind of these smaller RDTAs as far as the tank size is that you vape through it so quick. Having this kind of squonk refill feature though is really nice. Let's see. Yeah, I like that. Easily refills it. That's really good. Yeah, it's wicking damn good. I almost want to clean the wicks up just a little bit, but yeah, that's all I'm doing here is kind of making sure it's not bunched up along the side of the deck there. I actually got it really full. That's kind of my bad. All right. The dead rabbit, I definitely want to try the dead rabbit solo. With everything that just hit as far as regulation wise coming into effect in China, I'm kind of curious how difficult it's going to be to find one. Hopefully a few places here in the States actually get them. Yeah, this thing is wicking like a dream. I do still drip a little bit here and there with an RDTA. I really think that's kind of the thing. Some people get turned off by them thinking that it's just kind of a different style of RTA, and it's really not. It's a combo, you know, of dripping and having a tank. So I still drip on them, just not as frequently as I would, you know, an RDA, obviously. Yeah, this is working outstanding. All right. Really dig that. I dig it on this too. It actually looks pretty damn sick on the Defiant Designs TS. I thought it would look a little odd, but kind of digging it, really. All right, set that off to the side. I need to hydrate. So did all of you see that Prop 31 passed in California? Funded by good old Michael Bloomberg. I don't know. I pretty much expected it to pass. I really did. But I just think it's odd that a billionaire can just buy, you know, votes in elections. It's so weird. I mean, I guess I kind of get it. Money can buy just about anything. I don't understand what his crusade is necessarily all about other than control. All right. So this next one we're going to build is the Pyro V4, the Pyro 4 RDTA from Vandy Vape. This is easily one of my favorite RDTAs out there. This guy has some amazing flavor to it. Yeah, they love to use children, but that had nothing to do with children. That had everything to do with protecting cigarette sales. And I mean, it's almost blatant. If you look at the states that borrowed against future payments of the master settlement agreement and the ones that benefit the most from it, they have the higher populations of smokers, so they get more money from master settlement agreement. It's all the states that came down on vaping super hard: California, Michigan, New York, Massachusetts, New Jersey. All those states came down on it massively hard. They could give two shits less about kids. They're trying to protect government money, right? And in the modern times, there's always been three things that you could kind of raise taxes on and it didn't matter because there was no good alternative to them. There was cigarettes, alcohol, and gasoline. No alternative to them. If you raise the taxes on them, people were going to have to pay them regardless, and they would. There wasn't much they could do about it. Vaping kind of gave an alternative. Well, not kind of, it did give an alternative to smoking. And as such, you know, you couldn't really raise taxes on cigarettes. Or if you did, then all of a sudden you saw a massive shift in smokers turning to vaping. So it's all about money. It's always been all about money. And unfortunately, the vape industry, that's what we lack. We don't have an organized group, like a trade group, that has money to actually fight back. California was overdue to pay it back. I wouldn't doubt it one bit. I know that was kind of the case with Michigan. All right, go ahead and look at the Pyro V4. Instead of talking about the sadness of the vape industry, honestly, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, guys. I know as far as like my channel, I'm going to push a ton of DIY e-liquid content coming up. There'll still be this, what we're doing now, live build streams, still be a ton of reviews. I got a bunch of stuff coming in. I got a few mech mods coming in, but I'm going to try and actually post more videos than I normally do and have a lot of DIY content. Basically, because there's so much of these flavor bans and things like that going on, that DIY e-liquid or kind of the black market is a lot of people's only option. So if I can help someone get into DIY and actually enjoy it, then I would love that. All right, just backing these out. I didn't show this with the top cap. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Come on. These O-rings are super tight. That's what it looks like all done up. It actually looks pretty damn good. Now with this one, come on. I definitely have to juice those O-rings up. Airflow's coming in through here and it's going underneath this whole kind of bowl slash half pipe. And then it's coming kind of the underside to the coil on both sides and then immediately underneath. So you get a lot of airflow to this thing, kind of hitting all sides of the coil, and just translates into extremely good flavor. You love the Pyro 3 in squonk mode? Yeah. Oh. All right. Coils I'm using for this one is actually my usual Coilology Alien V2s that I do for builds on the channel. Well, these and Twisted Timmy's, but kind of run low on Twisted Timmy's, and I have an absolute ton of these right here. They are 3mm ID coils, come out to 0.21, so pair normally comes out to about 0.1 to sometimes 0.09, but most of the time 0.1. All right, so this is also one that, you know, when you saw the Hellheim, it had a huge opening for your wicks. One of the kind of downsides to the Pyro V4 is that they're not really that big. Oh no, did we bust an O-ring? We did. Knew I should have juiced those up. All right, see if I can find one real quick in this package. We will replace it. Looky there, a bag of nothing but O-rings. Down to one set left of the Freyland V2s. I think I've got like 5 or 6 sets left, but still with me, that's like the oh shit mark. I'm like, oh God, I need to get more. Must get more. All right, I think this is the smaller one. Give this a go. Yeah, there we go. All right, O-ring problem fixed. Definitely have to juice that up before I try and put that top cut back on there. Set that off to the side. But yeah, the openings there are smaller, which I don't like. I really don't. Oh, come on. I might need a bigger screwdriver. I don't want to strip that out. There we go. These were really tight in there. Well, not on this side, but on the other side, these two were extremely tight down in there. See what's going on in chat. Spools are the way to go with coilology. I don't know. I like the Alien V2s a lot, both these and the 2.5, the 0.3 ohm, 2.5 millimeter ID coils. They do have a lot of really good spools. If I'm going to use their frame staple, I always just get the spool. Mainly because I like making 4 millimeter ID coils with their frame staples. Yeah, you could hear them break free when I kind of finally got them loose. All right. Another, not necessarily a bad thing. A lot of RDAs and RTAs and rebuildables in general make you do this, but you kind of have to, you know, spread your legs apart just a little bit to get your coil to go down in there. Now, the length that I cut these to is 8. This is the actual tool that comes with it. So they recommend 8, and I've really found that 8 works the best. I mean, it's still pretty low down to that deck. It's just the kind of leg inserts are very deep in there. What's going on, Chasing Clouds? You ready for live mixing to come back on Monday? Monday should be a lot of fun for me because it'll be the return of live mixing to this channel, and then that night I'm doing Noted DX and it's donuts. So it's not like it's a horrible you know, flavor profile to test, although there's a lot of Play-Doh tasting donuts out there, I will say. You've been reading? Nice. All right. This one didn't actually jank up the ends too much with these. I think if these had been 4 wrap, well, I know if they'd been 4 wrap, the outside wrap would like kind of separate because the legs end up just getting stretched out too far. But this one, I am going to kind of get them somewhat close together. I'm going to move this one up a little bit. think that's pretty good. How you've been ready? I mean, I do that all the time, especially if I'm trying to do chat in like a live stream and I'm on my phone. I can't count how many times I've fat fingered something and then it just reads completely off from what I was trying to say. All right. Coming out to 0.08. Go ahead and pulse and pinch. So yeah, chasing clowns. I don't know if you were lurking or anything when I was talking about Prop 31 passing and the fact that, well, not the fact that, but that I was going to do a lot more DIY content moving forward. Still be plenty of reviews and all that good jazz, build streams, all that, but I'm also going to try and pump out a lot more content than I've been doing before and have most of that extra content be DIY content. I would like to be able to, if I can get anyone into DIY that has, you know, no flavored e-liquid options where they live, then I think that would be pretty damn awesome. I'm really kind of going to focus on simple stuff at first, because I think a lot of people's issue with DIY is they think it's too complicated, especially building your own recipes. Yeah, Prop 31 passed in California, so no flavored tobacco products, including vaping, period, even if they have been approved by the FDA. Looking pretty good. Yeah, I don't see any hot spots, so I think that'll work. All right, we're going to use our snow cotton from QP again. Hopefully it doesn't tear apart on me. It really is out of control. It's nuts. I mean, like we were talking earlier, it's all about money, but it's also just government is so on the wrong side of history with this issue. These might be too thick. No, there we go. Just that area in the very beginning of the wick there was a little bit too thick. Yeah, exactly. Sleepster. Yeah, you can get cigarettes anywhere. It's like cigarettes have been grandfathered in, but that, you know, they're like, hey, they're just going to be legal forever. Sorry, guys. But then something comes along that could actually lower the smoking rates, and you still really can't find anything that is a significant harm risk from vaping, but you're still going to go after it like crazy. This one might be too thick. I don't get it. I mean, I do get it because it's all about money, but yeah, I think it's just insane. Yeah, they do. They only care about the tax rate. They don't care about death rate. They don't care about cancer rate. Well, actually, they care about cancer rates in the reverse. I think if some of the politicians were actually, like the politicians that are linked up with Big Pharma, if they actually told the truth, they would say, sure, they would say, you know, anyone with cancer is sad, but hey, we make a lot of money off of cancer. All right, there we go. All right, so with these, I want them pretty long. Probably about like that. Definitely gonna have to thin these out just because the opening is so crazy small for a dual coil RDTA. Yeah, it's always about money and power. It's unfortunate though that this is an issue that they feel the need to just squash the vape industry. Now that I'm in hindsight, this snow cotton was probably a bad choice for an RDTA. Because like I said, it's just too easy to thin it out too much. Big hunks of it come away when you're trying to kind of strum through it, even if you're just doing it lightly. And then all of a sudden in certain spots, like you can see over here, like that's thick, but then right through there is super thin. It's just, I don't know. It's like it's not one giant strand. It's just a bunch of bunched up strands. And so it's easy to pull a big cluster out of it. But it still feels pretty fluffy. So hopefully I don't have to worry about it too much. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Already lawsuits pending. Oh, you talking about for the Prop 31? I hope so. I hope every time they come after vaping in some way, there is lawsuits. Really wish more states would take cues from Florida. But honestly, I don't think Florida's stance on vaping would be what it is without DeSantis. He does not give a fuck. Let's see if I can pop this tank off. Here we go. This is what I wanted to do with the Hellheim. Kind of pop that off. And then fluff out the wick some. What happens, they get bunched up like that. Then they're not going to want to wick right. But if you can get down here and fluff it up, make sure it's not all bunched up, it will wick much, much better. There we go. That looks a lot better. All right. Now with this one, it has a spring-loaded fill port, which I'm not the hugest fan of, honestly. We're gonna use my cookies and pudding recipe, which is basically Oreo cookie pudding. So we'll do this first and then we'll fill the tank up some. Actually, I want to pull these up a little bit. There we go. They were a little too tucked down there, too tight. When I do that, it seems like the wick right here closest to where it's like really pulled down will dry out faster because it's kind of fallen away from the coil. Yeah, but that's the thing. They don't want to find a cure for cancer. There's no money in the cure. There's money in the medicine. You can cure something, you don't make any money off of it besides the initial sale of the cure. But if you can have medicine that will manage it and allow someone to still live, but they have to now take that medicine or that treatment or whatever the rest of their lives or off and on for the rest of their lives, that's where the money is. All right, I think that looks good. Let's go ahead and fill this thing up. You just kind of push in and then squeeze the bottle. You kind of got to do it at an angle, like how that nozzle's angled in there, or it just doesn't want to come out right. And it takes a while to fill it. It's just a slow process. It doesn't just let you puke liquid into the tank. There we go. Always kind of leaves a little droplet behind, but that's all right because we definitely want to juice these rings up, these O-rings, so we don't break another one. All right. Yeah, that went down a lot easier. All right, let's jump back up top and vape on this sucker. I don't think you really missed anything. It was just kind of the juicing and firing. That was it. Might have missed what liquid it was. I guess maybe it's my Oreo pudding. All right, try this out with airflow wide open. I definitely need to crank this wattage up. Start at 65 watts. It's definitely too much airflow, but it's not like the Hellheim, where the Hellheim, if you've got it wide open, it's a fucking wind tunnel. This is too much airflow, but not by a huge amount. So I think if I cut it down about maybe 20%, 15%, something along those lines. And now this top cap just spins and spins and spins, but it kind of works in its favor because sometimes when you go to turn it back the other way, it's a little bit tight at first and you'll end up kind of just either unscrewing the deck from the tank or just unscrewing it from your atomizer. It's still pretty good. I gotta raise the wattage up. 65 just not enough. And I did go ahead and raise up, so it came out to 0.11. It's rare that it actually comes out to 0.11. cut the airflow down a little bit more. Say about 30% cut off. That's really good right there. This is one of my favorite RDTAs for flavor, just because it's completely surrounded by airflow. With the Hellheim, that's the same thing, but it's very directional. Like the airflow that's coming from underneath is a kind of very small, just straight group of honeycomb holes. And then on the side, it's just kind of blasting it directly. With this, it's honeycomb everywhere, but it's kind of, you know, it's bowl shaped or dome, upside down dome shaped, where the airflow coming up from underneath is a big circle of honeycomb. And then on the sides, it's actually kind of the underside of the coil, not just blasting it directly in the side. So I think the flavor off of this one is a little bit better than the Helheim. Thoughts on Cloud9 cotton versus regular Japanese cotton and the Amoza cotton? I like the Amoza better than Cloud9. Honestly, Cloud9 is probably my third favorite cotton. Amoza is my favorite because it just works better. It breaks in quicker than any other cotton I've ever tried to use, as long as you kind of thin it out some. Now, if you leave the wicks thick, it's going to take about the same amount of time to break in as something like Cloud9 or KGB oh, now I can't even think of Maviton X. That is my second favorite cotton. What wattage or resistance do you usually vape at? What would you say is the best leg length for the Blaze RTA? I think with the Blaze, I was cutting them about 5. It was like 5 or 5.5. I want to say 5.5 is what I'm normally cutting those at. Wattage and resistance. Most of the time I vape on mechanical mod. So I like a resistance right around, with dual coil, right around 0.1 or 0.09. And then, yeah, it's usually on some type of mech. So the wattage is probably going to be, you know, 150 something starting out to, you know, upwards of 180 something starting out. And then, you know, as the voltage sag hits, wattage goes down. But overall, yeah, I vape pretty high wattage, pretty low resistance. If it's single coil, normally anywhere from like 0.17 to even 0.3. And a lot of times I'll vape single coil on regulated mods, but there are a few that I do really like on mechanical mods as well. Yeah, this is really good. I mean, I already knew that with this one, but it's kind of winning me over all over again. Yeah, I don't like that I always have to turn it. I always kind of have to turn it like clockwise to cut the airflow down. So I have to spin it all the way back around, because if I start to spin it the other way, it just starts to unscrew it from the atomizer. Need to juice those even more. All right, now about 50% cutoff. Yeah, that's really good. That's even better flavor. Do it gradually. There we go. That's about perfectly 50 now. Yeah, that's the best flavor off of this. About, yeah, pretty much exactly 50% cut off. It's a little bit more of a restrictive draw, but because there's just so much airflow coming in, and where there's so much space in there, granted it's all coming up from underneath and kind of the underside, but there's still a lot of space in there for that airflow to kind of move around as it's going up. So it doesn't feel, I don't know, it doesn't feel overly restrictive. If you look at it, you know, it's kind of just a bored out hole at this point. So you'd think it would be, you know, kind of apocalypse style restriction, but It's really not. It's more open than that, but the flavor off of it is just extremely good. Since I love my Japanese cotton, I have some of the most overpriced cotton, and I always go back to Japanese Muji pads. Yeah, I mean, organic Japanese cotton's hard to beat, honestly. They're chasing clouds. That Emoza, I did a huge test. I really should have filmed it on. I might go back and do a video where I go over all the cotton that I tested, but you know, I tested Maviton X, the higher grade of Maviton X. I can't remember what it's called, even though I liked it less. Then KGB, Cotton Bacon, Puff Wicks, Emoza, Muji, Cloud9, that Snow White that we're using for these, and I think like 2 or 3 others, but the Emoza just won out time and time again. I really like Cloud9 if I'm doing series because it tends to handle a lot of heat and power better than most other cottons, but for really anything else, that Emoza is going to win out. And that Maviton X stuff just has amazing flavor to it, and it breaks in almost as quick as that Emoza. It is a pretty chunky airport, yeah, but I've got it so closed down that it's working really good. Not gonna stick this on the mech. We will stick the next one on a mech for sure. Yeah, I dig the flavor off that. All right, I'm gonna take it off here so we can go ahead and build the next one. Wow, that only took a couple of turns. This is something interesting. It has an O-ring right here. And if I'm not mistaken, that O-ring is actually to help prevent it from just sealing down against whatever mod you have it on. If you're a fan of the Dreamer or a few other mech mods, that kind of that top portion will unscrew. A lot of times if you leave the atomizer on there too long, or you know, maybe you get a little bit of liquid somewhere close to the bottom and you've tightened it down, it will kind of seal, and as you start to unscrew the atomizer, just that whole kind of top portion where the hybrid connection is will just unscrew from the mech tube, and then it can be a pain in the ass to get that thing off of your actual atomizer. I believe they do this to prevent that. Could be wrong, but I think that's what that is. If that's the case, because I've never had this stick to an atomizer ever, if that's the case, I think all atomizers should do that. The BP Pro Vape cotton is better than I thought it was, Steve. I've got the 2.5 millimeter version of it, and I really dig it. It is super convenient because you don't have to, you know, kind of tear off pieces, so it doesn't you don't really have the risk of it being too thin or too thick. So I do really like that one as well. This is going to look a little silly because this is a 30 millimeter. Well, actually, it shouldn't look too bad on the Gower. It doesn't have much overhang. Well, more than I thought. All right, this is the Pandemic 30 millimeter. This thing just came out. If you've ever used the Pandemic 28 millimeter, you know how good that one was. I've heard nothing but good things about this. This looks like it is 158. I don't know what the initial batch was, like number wise. Very similar to the 28 millimeter version, except of course it's orange. Hell yeah. So yeah, same thing as kind of the Plague edition in the 28 millimeter. Airflow's coming in, it's getting angled upwards, so it's going to kind of hit the side of the coil, and you can actually get your coils up enough that it will get a little bit of undercoil airflow too. But the Pandemic 28 just had absolutely amazing flavor, so I'm hoping this will be just as good, just bigger. All right, what coils to use? Actually, Chappie, if you're familiar with Chappie's coils, he's the guy that kind of hooked me up with this and sent it to me. He sent some coils, but I'm not sure what the resistance is. I'd have to go look and figure out what resistance those gauges of wires would come out to. So I think I'm going to save them until I can actually look up what the resistance would be for those. And we'll go ahead and use the Coilology Alien V2s again. I don't want to use the Twisted Timmys on this because they're 4-wrap, and this thing is just a little bit too big, I think, for any kind of 4-wrap coil. I thought about doing it up as a series because I've got some Twisted Timmy series aliens, and then sticking it on the 1111 because I got the stack section into this. But I think I'm gonna try it out just as a standard for the moment. Trying to figure out where I need my coil height with this. What do you guys think? What coil height would you do for this right here? I'm thinking, how deep down are those? Not very deep. I'm thinking maybe a 5 or a 5.5. Wish they made a 25mm in orange. Yeah, I'm thinking 5mm. And you guys seem to agree with me, so let's go for it. I got these in recently. I don't normally talk about like the tool set, but these are, what are they, Xuron wire cutters. These are made in the US. These things are amazing. These are the best wire cutters I've ever had. All right, sorry, I just wanted to show that off. I really dig these wire cutters. All right, there's one. And there's 2. Yeah, I think 5 is going to work very nicely. 5 seems to be the usual go-to. Yeah, that'll work damn good. Steve-O, they're damn good cutters, aren't they? Now these use Allen key grub screws, and they're pretty fat Allen key. I'm not sure what the actual millimeter size is, but it's pretty damn fat. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, that's what I kept reading. I'd never heard of Xuron, but when I started, I never actually looked up, hey, what are some of the best actual wire cutters to get? It was pretty much nothing but, hey, get Xuron. Those are the ones to get. So decided I'd roll with it. And yeah, I've been nothing but extremely happy with them ever since I got them. And that was another thing a lot of people said, was like they just last a lifetime. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to move them a little bit closer. Probably about like that. Man, I'm guessing this one on the side didn't drop down as far. Give me just a second. See what's up with this one. That's better, I think. Yeah, I think that'll work. Maybe, hopefully. Let's give it a go. All right. Uh-oh, that's not good. Saying they came out to 0.1, which I'm going to assume means one of these leg leads is not clamped down very well. And I see which one it is. And so anytime you've got some coils that you are very familiar with, and all of a sudden the resistance is not coming out right, probably means grub screw has not caught it correctly. That's definitely what went on here. So this leg, it's still not perfect, but this leg right here was pretty much on the other side of that grub screw. It was pinching it, but not clamping down on it fully. Other side looks okay. It's still saying that. Uh-oh. Take a look at this other side. Probably should have widened out those legs a little bit better. This one looks fine though. Let's see what that did. That's even worse. That's not good. Let me check something real quick. Oh, it's that one. Sorry guys, give me just a second. It's just not wanting to clamp down on that leg very well. I don't know, it's still saying 0.1. Maybe it's the coils. Maybe I just... One thing I don't like is this deck seems to move. Like, you see that? The deck itself is actually moving when I kind of adjust the coils. That's not good. All right, give me just a second here. I'm going to take this 510 pin out and then reseat it. 510 pin is snug. That's what I did when I first pulled it off there, was to tighten that down. But I'm curious if it's just not if this deck itself is not sitting down right, like the peak is not where it should be. I don't know, it looks okay. So yeah, when I take that out, you can see the peak down there. It looks pretty level. Let me hang on here just a second. A little too hard to do this on camera. That should have at least caught it. All right, it doesn't seem to move now. Maybe that got it. Maybe. Still saying 0.1. Right there. See the deck moving around? That's not good. I'm gonna have to take the deck all the way out of there. And at least take a look at it. Well, if I can. All right, let me undo these coil legs so I can really look at this. Because yeah, I don't think it's caught down in that peak very well. Take these coils all the way out. I'm gonna swap camera view so you guys aren't just sitting there watching that. Sorry about that. And then as soon as I get this out of here, we'll swap back. Okay. All right, so let's look at this. All right. Took this side of the post out. Down in here, that peak looks fine. I don't know why it wouldn't sit very well or why it wasn't catching very well. There was some copper flakes up in the threading there. That's kind of what I blew out. Don't see any more. I don't know. See if I can set this back down in there. Good. I don't know. It seems like a wonky way of setting this, but all right, doesn't seem to want to move anymore. So maybe it was getting caught on that peak, or yeah, definitely a good learning moment for atomizer safety. So like I said before, if you've got coils you're very familiar with, and you know, I know with these, they normally come out to 0.08 or 0.09 before I fire them. So coming out to 0.1 was a big kind of warning sign of, oh shit, what's going on? And then the deck, it shouldn't move at all. It should be in there snug. That was my problem with the Series RDA, was the post kept actually moving. As you tighten it down, it would bend inwards. There was nothing you could do to get it to tighten all the way down. So the resistance on the series just kept jumping all over the place, which is why I do not use that atomizer ever. And I have two of them because I got one and thought, oh, I must have got a dud. So I bought another one and it still happened. So it's just poor manufacturing. I think it really, with the series, it was just poor design for trying to do triple coil the way they did, and then being able to use that kind of dual post thing so you could do dual coils if you'd rather. It just wasn't designed very well at all. All right, this time I'm going to stretch these leg leads out some. Here we go. I wick a bit tighter with 3mm RDA coils, basically kind of to stop spit back. But then I will thin out the outside wicks pretty well. A Simba RDA? I sure don't. I think I've heard you talk about that Simba RDA before, not heard, but read you talking about it in chat. Oh, come on. And it started to move again. It's still reading 0.1. And now this deck wants to move more. All right. I'm probably going to have to really mess with this to try and get it to sit right. So I don't know if we're going to finish this one right here, because that deck just doesn't want to stay seated. All right, I don't know. Let's go ahead and see if we can pull some pinch. Actually, let me move these some. Not like that. I'm not going to stick this on the 01 from Zero Mods, 3D printed mechanical mod, because there's no way in hell I trust this thing. I mean, they seem to be glowing fine. It's probably fine, but I don't know if I would trust this particular one on a mechanical mod. Let's see any more hot spots. I mean, it's firing just fine. Let's see. Yeah, it came out to 0.12. Unless the coils in this whole pack are bad, which is there's no way in hell, there's something off with this. At most, that should have come out to 0.11. because that's a totally different set of coils than what we were using before. I mean, it's the same type, but you know, I didn't try to reuse the coils I took out. Pulse AIO version 1 finally cracked the frame after just torquing the flush nut too tight. I mean, I never thought I was torquing that flush nut down too tight, and it still ended up cracking. It was kind of a subsurface crack, but yeah, it did finally crack on me as well. All right, go ahead and wick this thing up, I guess. This cotton, man, it's just so, I don't know. It's honestly like it's made up of chunks of cotton, not individually long strands. It's like there's just it's a big clusterfuck of cotton. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, Sleepster, I haven't had any issues with the AIO, the Pulse AIO 0.5 either. I've been pretty damn happy with it overall. Pretty damn happy. But I will say, the appeal of Boro it's starting to wear off on me. I'm starting to, and I didn't never really started all that heavily, but it's already just starting to, I don't know, become uninteresting to me. All right. For this one, probably cut it about there, maybe. Not real sure, but we'll see. For these, I normally put my wattage right around somewhere between 40 and 50. But that's normally when they come out to like 0.08 or 0.09. And then I'll initially kind of, I don't know, maybe half a second bursts. And then as I go along and get kind of the hot spots out of it, I'll do a little bit longer bursts. But yeah, most of the time it's probably, with most coils, I would do it at around probably 35 to 40 watts just to see, is what I would start out at. But with these Coilology Alien V2s, I'm extremely familiar with them, so usually I just turn it all the way up to 50 and just kind of quickly pulse starting out with them. And then as they break in some, get some of the hot spots out, I'll do a little bit longer presses on it to just make sure I can really see if there's any more hot spots left. I'm not going to do under with this one, just because of the way this cotton is overall. Probably a little bit long in the wick department, but we're just going to roll with it. Actually, it didn't turn out too bad. All right. All right, so the liquid I'm going to use on this one is my butter cookie custard. I will say, if I do this thing up and the ohms don't jump around everywhere, they just stay where they're at, and it works fine, I might talk myself into sticking it on the 0-1. Probably shouldn't, considering, but actually I probably won't. That jumping around with, or the being as high as it was, really kind of freaks me out with these coils, as far as ever using it with a hybrid mod. All right, I think that's good. Now when you put the top cap back down, you kind of have to line it up with the airflow. Otherwise it kind of doesn't want to go down very well. And there you go. This thing looks absolutely sick. I love the look of this, especially being orange. All right, let's swap back over. Besides, my camera is doused in vapor to the point it just only sees fog. All right, it's still at 0.12 at 75 watts. Let's see how it vapes just wide the fuck open. Way too airy. All right, so this has several different airflow options. Let me show you this. So it's got wide the fuck open like that. Then it has 3 slit wide the fuck open. Then 2 slit. Honeycomb. And then back to wide the fuck open. All right. Let's try honeycomb. This definitely needs more wattage. Put it at 90. All right, what did I miss in chat here? Boros are all the same. I don't know about Boros being all the same, but they're just teeny RTAs and teeny RDTAs. Not a huge fan of RTAs to begin with, so miniaturizing one of those is not very appealing to me right off the bat. I do like the RDTA style one, so like the atemporal, the Ponte. I really want to try that Kylan Boro that Vandy Vape came out with. I'm pretty interested in that one, so I may actually get my hands on that and do a review for that one down the road. But yeah, my interest in Boros is slowly fading. I haven't been too interested in the stubby at all. And, you know, there was a few people saying, hey, they've got it in orange now. And that was, my interest got piqued, but I don't know if it's peaked enough to pay, you know, almost $200 for the thing. And the flavor of this is spectacular. I've got it on the honeycomb, but I kind of cut it down some. Not like that. And the pull off of it's really good. And the resistance is climbing. It's now at 0.13. So yeah, we're not going to put this on a mechanical mod. It's jumping around too much, and there's just no way in hell it would be safe. This is the new pandemic 30mm from Unicorn Vapes. But I don't know if I got a defective one or what happened, but it does not want to. Actually, let me try something here. I swear if it was that other post screw, I'm gonna scream. It was the other screw. Okay, so let's check this out. Now I feel kind of, so this is the other screw that's on here to the posts, and it goes to kind of the other side, and it was extremely loose. I didn't even think to check it. I don't know why, but as soon as I screwed that down, it kept climbing. Like it was 0.11, and that made me worried. Then it went to 0.12, and then 0.13. It just kept climbing, and now it is spot on at 0.1. So yeah, it was just that. So that one goes to the other set of posts. I'm guessing to hold the whole, I don't know. I guess where it's not built into the deck necessarily. All right. But it seems to be working now. Let's see if it jumps around in the ohms on me. Go ahead, crank it all the way up to 100. That's very good. Let me open this all the way back up. Yeah, the whole like hit off of this has totally changed. So if you get one of these, definitely check your 510 pin and this other screw. Yeah. That right there, that was what was loose, and that's what kept jumping my ohms all over the place and making me not trust this thing. And I don't know why I didn't think to check that. I really should have. But now that it's tightened down, this thing is vaping amazing. All right, so you've noticed that after I dry burn a coil, even if it's a fresh install, the coils go very dull gray, almost black, and worn looking. You're pulsing at 25 watts dual coil. What's the resistance of the coils, and what type of coils? Like, who makes them? Yeah, the color depends on what they're made of. So like Kanthal will kind of, what are these? Yeah, Kanthal will kind of just dull out. And then if it's like it's a hybrid, a combination, yeah, I've seen a lot of Kanthal stainless steel, and they kind of go dull. It's the NI80 and NI90 will really kind of change colors on you. Go blue, amber tones. MTN coils in the UK, Fuse Clapton's NI80. Now, if they're NI80, they should not necessarily always change colors, because I've noticed sometimes, even with the Twisted Timmys, they don't go like a whole spectrum of colors. Sometimes they do just go a dull gray, and that's normally when I've noticed that I don't have to do a lot of strumming. It just kind of lights up immediately. I don't know why it's not changing colors. I really don't, because normally NI80, NI90 kind of changes colors on me, but not always. So I'm not sure what would be causing that, especially at 0.15. 0.15 pulsing at 25 watts, I'm imagine probably, are you doing like a lot of rapid pulse? I would imagine you'd actually have to hold some of those down to get them to start glowing at 0.15. Not like long, huge presses, but you're not, you know, more. So I'm just curious how long you're pulsing it. But honestly, I'm not sure why it would. Is the flavor off them or anything else like that? Is it bad flavor or is it just the look? Yeah, Steve, oh yeah, I agree. That color change all depends on the metal. Like not so much the type of metal, but also just how well the wire was made to begin with. Tastes like an old pair of coils, even if they're brand new. You might, I don't know for sure because I'm not familiar with that brand of coils, but you might try cranking that wattage up a little bit. Put it at about 35 and then try pulsing them that way, maybe even 40, but don't, you know, don't hold it down for long presses. You know, you're doing 3/4 of a second, you know, do it maybe half a second and then just kind of rapidly do it. And you might try, actually, you might try doing what you're already doing at 25 watts and actually holding down a little bit longer to let it glow. Chasing clouds, later, man. I'm not going to forget that recipe. It looks amazing. All right. So now that this thing, it has not jumped around in wattage on me at all, I'm going to go ahead and stick this thing on the 01. This is the 01. If you're not familiar with it, comes from Zero Mods over in Australia. A gentleman by the name of Tony P makes these. And this is probably my favorite 3D printed mechanical mod out there. And I really like snowcat mods, but this one I actually like even more. You find a coil, not a coil, a battery. Here we go. Stick a brand new smallest LP42A in here. This should look dope. It does. Oh yeah, look at this. Bam. It almost looks like orange and copper now as opposed to the actual RDA being orange, but off camera you can definitely tell it's just two different shades of orange. All right. Oh yeah, that's good. Let me try some of this other airflow. I don't know about the 3 slits. Well, screw it. Let's try it. That is a lot of vapor. It's a lot of airflow even with the 3 slits. Let's try the 2. So here's the 2. It's kind of both of them closer to the bottom. Give this one a go. That's really nice. I still think the honeycomb is the best. I'm gonna try it on this with the honeycomb just wide open, not cut down at all, really. All right, here we go. Oh, you're holding it down for like 3 seconds? Yeah, that's probably too long. So I would definitely crank your wattage up and do shorter bursts. This is really good. I got too much cotton. I should have cut those wicks shorter. But other than that, this is vaping like a dream, especially on this. I love this 01. This thing is an absolute banger. Flavor off this for 30mm is absolutely spectacular. I mean, this butter cookie custard tastes amazing, almost like I was vaping it on a 25mm. Probably, I don't know, I might like the flavor off this better than the Asgard 30mm. It's really good. One thing I will say, I mean, I know I'm sitting here just chain vaping this damn thing, but the top cap is super hot. I'm actually going to set it down for a little bit and let it kind of cool. That way I can take a bigger rip off of it. But here pretty soon, I'm probably, how long we've been going? Almost 2 hours. I mean, the Vaporworks lab is really just vapor. Definitely Vaporworks tonight for sure. It's a good thing I only vape like 0.5 milligram. Otherwise, I'd be super nicked out. So yeah, Connor, I would definitely don't hold it down for that long. Up your wattage. You know, it should just kind of be for maybe a second at a time, probably, you know, at the most. Then as you get the hot spots out, you know, you can hold it for a little bit longer to let them glow fully and a little bit hotter. So, because some hot spots, you know, you can't really see until it glows red hot. But at first, it definitely needs to be shorter bursts and probably more wattage, honestly. Working on a peanut butter fluff cookie. Nice. What's the fluff? Is it like marshmallow fluff? I don't know about the oxidizing of the coils, but it very well could be. It does sound delicious. Especially if it's like marshmallow fluff, or is the marshmallow fluff? Ooh, using gooey and marshmallow vanilla. Hell yeah! This is actually cooling down pretty quick, so I do like that. I have been working on a Twinkie recipe because I don't know why, but here recently, like we bought Twinkies and I kind of ended up on like a Twinkie obsession. So then I was like, all right, well, I can't just constantly smash Twinkies. That's no good for me. So let's go find a Twinkie flavored recipe. And I don't like any of them. So been kind of banging out a Twinkie recipe. I've just about got it. Once this last kind of sample I did up actually steeps for a few days, I'll know if I completely got it. You'd be surprised how much wattage they can kind of handle. Are they small mass? Is that what it is? Yeah, vaping Twinkies is way better for me than just like smashing a whole box. Which was the whole reason I was like, all right, I got to do a like uh I know I've mentioned it before, but I have Crohn's disease and I've had a ton of surgeries, things like that. Normally, I only eat like one meal a day and I might have, you know, a few little snack things here and there. So, like, when we got those Twinkies in, I damn near ate the whole box just sitting there. And I was like, this is terrible. What am I doing? This is definitely not what I should be doing. So, yeah, that was where I was like, I got to get a Twinkie e-liquid. You should be okay to kind of pump that wattage up on those. Sleepster, I love Twinkies too, apparently. I didn't realize how much I love Twinkies, but yeah. So I started doing a Twinkie recipe. I tried, Wayne has a Twinkie recipe that he did up on live mixing, and it has toasted almond in it. I'm not sure. I know he was trying to do something with toasted almond that actually did something between the cake and the cream. I don't know if he was trying to use it to separate them or what, but it doesn't. All I taste is toasted almond. And I think it was TFA toasted almond, and that's just one of those flavors that even if I use it at like 0.25, I can taste it in the mix. So I can't use toasted almond as a utility flavor at all. It's just going to come across as toasted almond. Steve-O, yeah, that's a good point. It is possible that he's tasting hot spots. Start doing your research. Are you talking about, oh, you're talking about DIY? Nice. I will have an updated video over on Odyssey, because I've got a video over there called Substance That Shall Not Be Named on YouTube, going over, we'll call it the additive, I guess. I think that's what Wayne calls it. Kind of going over, you know, where you can procure said substance. But a lot of those have changed their policy. So I need to do an update video over on Odyssey, kind of going over the more reliable places to actually procure yourself some substance that shall not be named on YouTube. I'm glad you're watching over on Odyssey too, man. More people need to jump on that platform. Like, not just to watch it, but to create stuff over there, because Odyssey was the platform that like all the tech people, all the techie people jumped over there. Especially the Linux people. That's how I found it. Was I'm also part of the Linux community, and they were like, dude, you got to check out Library, which is what Odyssey's built on. And then eventually Odyssey came around. But I really, really dig it. I just wish it had the user base. Yeah, Brody, Steve-O is totally right that the DIY e-juice subreddit it's an amazing place. Well, Brody, there's going to be a ton more DIY videos coming up, really from here on out, but definitely this month and December, I'm going to try and do a lot more content publishing than I have been doing, and all the extra stuff will be DIY content. So, yeah, I definitely want to do more information on DIY, especially with everything going on, like the Prop 31, and you know, there's more places, even if it's not a full state, there's counties and cities that are banning flavors, and the people in those areas are really kind of fucked. So if, you know, there's more resources out there on how to get into DIY, how to go about making your own recipes. And I'm definitely going to focus on easy recipes starting out. So, you know, 2, 3, 4 ingredient bangers, something that's really easy for somebody to just whip up a bunch of and roll with it. So definitely more DIY content coming. And then this Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be the return of live mixing, and it will be every Monday at 1 p.m. This thing is really good. My only con to it is that top cap gets ridiculously hot. I could not imagine putting series coils in this thing. I mean, it definitely could hold them, but I think the top cap would just get way, way too hot. I mean, and the 28mm version of the Pandemic, the Plague Edition, it got hot as well. pretty quick, but I don't know, this seems like it's getting hot even quicker. But this is really, really good. All right, guys, I'm gonna have to call it. It's been about almost 2 hours on the money, probably the longest live stream that I've done yet. All right, hang on. I'll do one more question. How do you deal with steeping fruits? You do a steep if you're all out of e-liquid. It depends on what the fruit is. I guess there's some fruits that, a lot of fruits I don't mind not steeping. There's a lot of fruits that are shake and vapeable to me. But if you're all out of e-liquid, I mean, I guess if it's the only option you got, you might have to just deal and kind of vape through it and it's steep as you're vaping it. But yeah, overall, there's not many fruits that really need a steep. They find that more with creams and things like that. All right, guys. Saren, good night. Yeah, fruits usually only need about 24 hours at most, and that's usually like lemons. It's something that's got a harsh kind of bite to it. Needs about 24, 48 hours to kind of just mellow out. All right, definitely gonna call it and stop answering questions. Sorry, guys. But yeah, Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be live mixing, and then we'll be back next Wednesday at 10 p.m. for the next live build session. And should be plenty of DIY content. There'll be a review for this coming up, and then there will also be a video going over the Nitrous limited edition kit. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I really appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time to sit here and watch me fucking fumble around with all kinds of different atomizers. You all have a good night. Vape on, and I'll catch you all in the next one.